Finding plugins I actually use is a challenge. Sometimes one seems great, but then after a month or so, it stops making its way into my vocal chains. So I'm going to share with you my top 5 vocal plugins I actually use and rank them based on how often I use them, regardless of the genre or the session that I'm working on. By the end of the video, you'll have some options that I've tested over at least a couple of years and found to be incredibly useful and improve my mixes even after all that time. But before we start, if you want to get your mixes to sound like professional songs, I encourage you to check out our mixing and mastering membership. Just for signing up, you receive 20 mastered songs per year with your own dedicated mastering engineer, unlimited mixing feedback, and access to Sage Audio University for in-depth mixing and mastering education courses. But more on that at the end of the video. Starting off at number 5, we have Metatune by Slate Digital. Having used multiple tuning plugins and software, this one is the easiest to use, the best sounding, and the most flexible without requiring excessive time fine-tuning settings. Now, although something like Melodyne is better, if you really need to manage every aspect of a vocalist's performance, Metatune still sounds more natural to my ear and introduces the fewest artifacts. With it, we can select the key or individual notes, adjust the tuning speed, or introduce a look-ahead function for incredibly fast and stylized tuning, make the tuning speed program dependent with the sustain dial, and even create a doubler effect, which is great for BGVs. Now, what makes this plugin particularly useful is the note stabilization, which limits note changes to a minimum of over 40 milliseconds, over 80 milliseconds, or over 200 milliseconds. I find this perfect for vocals that have a lot of pitch fluctuations and essential for creating a natural sound. So let's listen to it on a vocal that needs some tuning and notice how its artifacts are minimal and the sound is still natural.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice. And how you word it wouldn't change my mind. I'm sleepwalking awake and vacant for days, that's right.
At number 4, we have Voxformer by Voxingo. At first glance, this plugin seems like a typical multi-effects chain, but its sound and flexibility are a step above any other plugin in its category. The vocal is routed to a 6-band parametric EQ, a dynamic section, a gate, a de-esser, a high-frequency booster, and a saturator, but the routing could be altered for some stages. For example, the EQ could be routed pre- or post-processing, and the same goes for the de-esser. The dynamic section includes 2 compressors which could be enabled or disabled independently. They could be routed in series, used for frequency-specific compression, and fine-tuned in the settings window. The gate includes 5 algorithms, with deep breath being the most useful for vocals. Now, the de-esser is admittedly a little finicky, but with the settings window, it's easier to dial in the exact sound that I want. As for the presence function, this wasn't something that I thought I'd need until I tried it, with deep being the most natural sounding option and my personal favorite for bringing the vocals to the front. Like the other functions, you could fine-tune this in the settings window. The saturator offers 4 algorithms, with crisp being a perfect option for pop, hip-hop, and rock vocals. My favorite part about this plugin is that if I use it after a temporal effect, like reverb or delay or anything that makes a side image, I could switch the processing from stereo to mid-side and affect each image individually with distinct EQ, compression, gating, and so on. So let's listen to this plugin being used after reverb so that I could show that part to you. Also, for the rest of the video, I'm going to keep the vocal tuned with Metatune.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice. And how you word it wouldn't change my mind. I'm sleepwalking awake, been vacant for days, that's right.
For number 3, we have PSP Vintage Warmer 2 by PSP AudioWare. This plugin is typically used for mastering or mix bus processing, but it sounds amazing on vocals. With mild drive and knee settings, the vocal instantly gets brought to the front of the mix, even after the increase in amplitude is compensated for via the output. Now, quick and automatic release settings work especially well, as does a small dip to 250 Hz and a small boost to roughly 3 kHz. Once the multi-saturation setting is enabled, I often go into the settings window and adjust the saturation to best suit the vocal. For rock, an emphasis on the mid-frequency range sounds great. For hip-hop and pop, some high-frequency saturation adds needed clarity and it creates a crisp sound. Then, I'll lower the release times for the mid and the high frequency ranges to keep details without any unwanted distortion going on in the lows. Although this plugin was designed for mix bus processing, its effect isn't subtle. and it works great on individual instruments. But since it's designed with mastering in mind, how it affects the timbre was very carefully controlled, and this makes it perfect for creating a detailed vocal without making it sound overprocessed or squashed. So let's take a listen and notice how full and present the vocal becomes.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice, and how you word it wouldn't change my mind. I'm sleepwalking awake, been vacant for days, that's right.
In the runner-up spot is Seventh Heaven Professional by Liquid Sonics. Now this is, without a doubt, my go-to reverb for vocals and most instrument types. It's not a natural or a realistic sound, just an incredibly enjoyable one. It utilizes impulse responses from the Bricasti M7 unit, a fantastic sounding high-end algorithmic reverb, and it offers additional functionality for some needed flexibility. The most useful added feature, in my opinion at least, is the ducking function in the Advanced Controls tab, which attenuates the reflections during the beginning of the transient. This lets the vocal's consonant come through relatively unaffected, which helps tremendously with intelligibility. This is going to allow me to dial in more aggressive reverb settings without the vocal becoming washed out or lost in the mix. Although every impulse taken from the M7 unit sounds amazing, some personal favorites for vocals include the vocal plate under the Plates 1 tab, Studio B Close under the Rooms 1 tab, and Sunset Chamber under the Chambers 1 tab. Lastly, all convolution reverbs introduce some pre-ringing distortion, but this one helps minimize how much is introduced by giving the user control over the latency. So let's take a listen to it as I cycle through these 3 settings with the ducker included.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice, and how you word it wouldn't change my mind. I'm sleepwalking awake, been vacant for days, that's right.
Last up, my favorite plugin that I use on every vocal in one way or another is H3000 Factory by Eventide. Now, I'd be lying if I said that I completely understood this plugin. Taking a brief look at the program routing window, the expert tab, and the function tab is enough to know that I might not ever fully grasp everything this plugin can do. Fortunately, the presets are pulled from the original unit, and additional options are added to give any user, myself included, more than enough to start with. Now, each preset uses some of or all of the following: pitch shifting and modulation, delay, frequency modulation, amplitude modulation, filters, ADSR envelopes including ducking and general compression, and likely a lot more that I'm not aware of. Looking through the vocal presets, I noticed that I use Tripler the most and vary the mix amount and pitch shifting to suit the track. The preset beside me is great for BGVs, as is widen delay, but this is barely scratching the surface of what it offers. Now, there's so much going on here that I can't really do it justice, but I absolutely recommend downloading a demo of this plugin and spending about an hour or so experimenting with the settings. So let's listen to a few presets with the mix and the pitch shifting functions being altered.
Don't waste my time. You talk in circles, say the same thing twice, and how you word it will change my mind. I'm sleepwalking awake, been vacant for days, that's right.
Even though I definitely recommend that you try at least some of these plugins, I'm well aware that this is a very subjective topic, so let me know what your favorites are below. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to get your mixes to sound like professional songs, I encourage you to check out our mixing and mastering membership. Just for signing up, you receive 20 mastered songs per year with your own dedicated mastering engineer, unlimited mixing feedback, and access to Sage Audio University mixing and mastering courses, which include start-to-finish walkthrough sessions for various genres and 35 multi-track sessions for hands-on practice. This platform is supported by our thriving community and tight-knit network of audio engineers, and every day we see and hear great wins in the membership, both from new and seasoned engineers, noticing a huge improvement in their mixes and their masters after joining. Right now, you could join the membership with a 70% discount, bringing the cost down to just $15 per month. So join today and start creating mixes that sound like professional songs.